before we get into actually analyzing data, we want to talk about how data is collected and unbiased versus biased samples. So, first off, statistical questions. We've got 2 examples here and 2 non-examples. So 2 examples. First, on average, how many text messages do you send each day? And then, how many cousins do you have? The non-statistical examples, what is the height in feet of Pikes Peak in Colorado? How many 6th graders attend Hawthorne Middle South? So let's look at the difference between the 2. So first off, when I see on average, automatically I know that it's not necessarily an exact answer. We're saying on average, well, one day I might send 50, the next day I might send 1, the next day I might send 100. So there's multiple values that could be true. Then, how many cousins do you have? Well, me specifically as an individual, okay, I only have a set amount of cousins. But if I'm asking this to different people, there are going to be different answers. Someone might have 0 cousins. Someone might have 10 cousins. Someone might have 35 cousins. So there is multiple answers that could be true. Versus non-statistical, when it's asking what is the height in feet in Pikes Peak? Well, there is just one height. Pikes Peak has a set total height. Okay, there's one answer. How many 6th graders attend Hawthorne Middle School South? There is one answer for the total amount. We're not saying how many 6th graders attend the different schools in Lake County. We're talking about one specific school. There's going to be one answer. So statistical question, there is more than one answer. So key part is there is a variability. If we want to be able to compare and analyze data, we need multiple values to be able to do it. Versus non-statistical, there is one answer. So, statistics, what is it? It is the study of collecting, organizing, and analyzing data. When we are analyzing this data, we are looking at it from the whole population. We're trying to represent the whole population, which is the entire group. If I'm making a statement about 6th graders, I'm talking about all 6th graders. But we don't always have the ability to survey or get the data from every single person or animal or whatever it is that you're collecting the data on that there is. So the actual part of a population that's being surveyed is the sample. I might sample an X amount to represent all 6th graders, or X amount to represent all monkeys. So when we collect these samples, okay, we want them to be unbiased. There are 2 different ways that we could have these unbiased samples. So a sample selected so that it accurately represents the population. That would be unbiased. It's not going to lean one way or the other based on who I have surveyed or what I have surveyed. So first we have a simple random sample. Okay. Key part is it is random. So a sample where each item or person in the population is as likely to be chosen as any other. This can be done in any way, right? Maybe I'm picking names out of a hat. Maybe I am assigning numbers and rolling dice for certain numbers, right? That everyone has a chance. It is random. The other type of unbiased sample is systematic random sample. So keyword in here is systematic. There's kind of a system to it. So it's a sample where the items or people are selected according to a specific item or time interval. Every 5th shirt, every 7th shirt, every 10 minutes, every 14 minutes. There's a certain interval that every certain amount of time or thing we are pulling that to be part of the survey. But then we have bias samples, and that's what you have to be aware of when you're looking at data. Sometimes data is biased or it's inaccurate, right? We can make it look how we want to look. So sometimes people used bias samples, and that would be a sample where one or more parts of the population are favored over others. It's biased towards one thing. So a convenience sample is a sample that consists of members of a population that are, you guessed it, conveniently accessed. So I'm not trying to make sure that I get a good representation in the group. I'm just like, oh, these items or these people are close to me. That's who I'm going to ask to get the information. And then voluntary response sample is a sample that consists of only those who volunteer to participate. Think about something like reviews for a product. Generally speaking, the people that write reviews are either people that are very happy with the product or people that are very not happy with the product, right? It is not getting an accurate representation of all of the people that have used the product. So let's look at determining whether things are biased or unbiased and what the type of sample would be. So when it says because, we are explaining by determining what type of sample it is. So number one, it says a phone survey is taken by a radio station to see how many listeners enjoy jazz in the morning. So key part in this statement is a phone survey. Does everyone have to answer that phone survey? Is there certain people that are told they have to answer it? No. This would be volunteering, right? So a volunteering situation creates a biased sample because it is a voluntary sample. Number two, every 40th student who enters the school is asked to name their favorite class. So I see this key part there, every 40th. That is a certain interval. That is an example of an unbiased sample. And it's that system is in place. It is a systematic random sample. Okay. Next up, we've got 10 students are randomly selected to participate in a survey about home computer usage. Keyword that I see in here, randomly. So it's not telling us what the specifics was, but it's saying that it was done randomly. So if it's random, that is unbiased. That is what you were looking for. And that is just our simple random sample. Number 4, Jennifer wants to know the average age of people who go to the movies at her local theater. She decides to ask everyone going in to see the R-rated horror film. So, it's fine that she's at the theater because that's what she's just looking at data for just that specific theater. But the issue that I have here is she's asking the people that are going into the R-rated horror film, and she specifically is looking for the average age. Well, rated R is only allowing a certain age to enter, so that's going to exclude people from the data. So this would be biased. Okay. And then the question is, between biased, it's either convenient or it's voluntary. People aren't volunteering here, so it's going to be a convenient sample. And the reason it is a convenient sample is because it's convenient for her to just stand there and ask people going into that one theater within the theater. She's not trying to make sure she's getting a random collection. Number 5, Adidas wants to check the quality control of their shoes. The plant manager decides to check every 5th shirt that is made. So that's a certain interval that is good. That is an unbiased sample. And that is that system in place. Systematic, random sample. And last one. Every third person who entered a basketball game was asked their favorite sport to watch. So I do see that it's every third person, which makes me think that this is a systematic sample and that it would be good and it would be unbiased. But when I look at it more closely, the question that it's asking is what their favorite sport to watch is. Just because someone's at a basketball game doesn't mean that that is their favorite sport to watch. But generally speaking, you would think they'd be more inclined to like basketball than maybe some other sports. So that wouldn't really be a fair representation to figure out what the favorite sport is. If you wanted to ask a specific question related to basketball at a basketball game, fine. But since we're trying to find a favorite sport whilst at a basketball game, that's favoring basketball. So this would be biased. And again, it's not voluntary. People aren't volunteering. It is convenient. Rather than going to multiple sporting events, they're going to one, and they're not getting a good representation.